Hello, welcome to another video. Today I wanted to share with you some of the minor things that I like to do to maintain my NordicTrack S22i studio cycle. Just like all normal pieces of equipment, preventative maintenance is something that you should consider when making a purchase, much like the NordicTrack S22i. So one thing that I've done with my particular bike is I've actually swapped out the pedals already, and I've purchased pedals that are specifically designed to be both a clip and a cage pedal. And I've used the OEM cages that came with the original pedals. I was able to pull those off of the old pedals and put them onto the new. And that is pretty much all I've changed with my particular spin bike. One thing that I have done, however, is I had to replace the resistance motor, and that's it. But the other thing that I've done just recently is I noticed while riding that I would get a numbing sensation through my groin area. And through a little trial and error, I found that my seat was actually pointed up just a little bit too much. So using a 6mm Allen screw, I was able to loosen the securing bolt and adjust the seat to a little bit more flat or almost even down angle, allowing myself to actually sit directly on the seat, the rear section of the seat. And since making that minor change, actually noticed the numbing sensation has dramatically reduced. So I'm hoping that possibly even through a little bit more minor adjustments, it might get to the point where that will be much more comfortable. I did keep the original seat, the OEM seat that came on the bike. I've noticed a lot of people, that's usually one of their first complaints, is that the seat is terribly uncomfortable. And while I don't disagree that the seat was terribly uncomfortable, the more frequently you ride, the quicker your body will become accustomed to it. And at this point now, I don't even use my cycling shorts. The padded cycling shorts, I bought those, used them 2 or 3 times, and I just went with the idea that the more I use the seat in the manner that it was designed, my body would become accustomed to it, and that has proven to be true. I don't find any discomfort at this point, and I've used the bike since June of this year, so it's only been a couple of months. You know, that's something that you can look forward to, I hope, is that, you know, over time you'll get more comfortable with the seat. So the next thing that I like to engage in post every ride is a real brief wipe down of my cycle. So I've had a paper towel roll. I just use one of the sheets each time. And before spraying anything on it, I'll use the plain dry paper towel just to wipe down anything on the monitor. And of course, you'll probably end up pressing buttons and hopefully not starting your next workout too soon. But I found that just a simple plain paper towel does a pretty good job of keeping the surface of the screen clean. We also keep some antibacterial spray, just something we bought at the local store. The next thing I'll do is a couple of sprays on the paper towel and wipe down the seat, because I know that's going to need to be sanitized. The handlebars. And then while this is still wet, one thing I like to do, I don't know if this is something that's recommended by the manufacturer, but I will actually loosen the seat post, raise it up, wipe this section down, the actual post, leave it in the up position to allow it to dry. And now using still the the moist paper towel, go through and wipe off the rest of the bike. The reason that I leave the seat post in the up position is because I want to allow it to dry completely before returning it to the original position. Plus, there's 3 or 4 of us in the house that use this bike, and I've found a number of times where I've gotten on the bike and the seat's at a much lower position, and I don't realize it until I've already started the workout that the seat is not set for me, because I'm finding some discomfort in, my knees and, hitting my knee on the water bottle racks or the brake mechanism because the seat's a little bit too low. So this gives you a way to remember that you need to reset the seat for yourself, especially if there's multiple users in the family that use the same piece of equipment. And then I've also got, I don't know if you can see that very good from there, but I've got a power strip here in the wall that the bike is plugged into. I'll use the power strip to power off the bike at the end of each day. That way, per the user manual, we are powering down the bike, hoping to eliminate any potential computer failure with regards to any power bumps or anything of that nature. I also wanted to mention something. I posted a video a while back, I'll put a link to it right up here, about the ergonomics of setting up for the studio cycle. And there might be a little bit of confusion with that one, where I mentioned that as you're putting the seat, the position you're putting the seat, that you want your leg in a lockout position. So I want to clarify that real quickly. What I meant by that was, as you're sitting on the seat, if you put your heel directly on the post, that is the position that your leg is in a locked out position. Once you put your foot, actually the ball of your foot on the pedal, your leg is actually slightly bent when it's in the fully extended position. So you don't want your leg to be locked out completely while pedaling. But if you're in a stationary position and your heel is directly on the pedal and you're sitting comfortably and flat on the seat, that's the only time that you would have a locked out leg in a straight position. And then another thing to make mention as well is the distance between the end of the seat and the handlebars should be about the distance of your forearm from your elbow, the back of your elbow, to your fingertips. That should keep you in a position to where you're close enough to the handlebars without being too far bent over or too far straight up. The other thing that I like to do, not after every ride, but at least once a month, is to go through and tighten all of the bolts on the bike. I have noticed originally when I first started doing this that at times there would be some that were a little bit loose, but as I've gone through this a couple of months, the last couple of times they've all remained in the tightened position. So over time they might wiggle a little bit loose, so it's a good idea to go through and make sure that you retighten all of the screws and bolts to make sure that they stay as secure as possible. One additional tip that I had overlooked when reading through the user manual was to always try and keep the screen away from direct sunlight. So in my case, I have a window right here that doesn't always have this screen in place. So one practice that I'm going to start doing, I didn't notice it before, was to position the screen away from the window, just to keep the direct sunlight from sitting on it for long periods of time. So what I'm going to do right now is adjust the feet on this one side, because I've noticed that of late it kind of wobbles a little bit. And that one I actually took all the way out. So we'll put that back in. So what I'm doing is I'm extending these all the way out. I'm going to set the bike down. and see that it's rocking. So it seems to me like these outside edges are a little bit out of balance. So I'm going to start by lowering this left side. I need to lower it a little bit more. If you move your bike around a lot, you might notice that it will return when you put it back into a new position. It's no longer balanced. So on the rear of the bike, there's actually some balancing feet, and that's a lot better. It does still move a little bit, but I'm not feeling any rocking in the rear of the bike. I also need to get it back into position where it will normally sit. Now that's a little too low on this side, so I'll walk that foot out. It's a lot better. Give it just a couple more twists there. There, now it's got a lot more stability on the feet themselves. The front doesn't have adjustable feet. It's just got standard posts. So the only way you can adjust the rocking from side to side is using the adjustment feet on the rear of the bike. So in today's video, I talked a little bit about what I like to do post-ride, wiping down the screen using a plain dry paper towel, then using an antibacterial spray to wipe down the rest of the bike, especially the handlebars, the seat, and the seat post, and then using the damp paper towel to wipe down the rest of the bike. I also talked a little bit about adjusting the seat due to some discomfort and some numbing. I did find that my seat was actually elevated a little bit, pointed up a little bit too much. So by lowering it down to flat or a little bit even tilted forward, allows me to rest with my seat on the saddle as far back as it can go. I also mentioned that the distance from the end of the seat to the handlebars should be about the forearm distance between your elbow and the tip of your fingers. And I talked a little bit about the pedals. I swapped them out for some clip style pedals. Myself and my oldest daughter use clip pedal shoes. My wife and my youngest daughter both use standard sneakers, and so they use the cage that came with the NordicTrack. And then I also talked a little bit about adjusting, making sure that all the bolts are tightened at least once a month from riding the bike, as well as the adjustment points at the rear of the bike. So if you found this video useful, make sure you give it a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Sometimes I'll do videos on the NordicTrack. Most often I'll do some sort of workout video, strength training using equipment, dumbbells, or cardio with a jump rope. So if you haven't already subscribed, click that subscribe button, click the bell to receive notifications, and you'll be notified when I post new content. And with that, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.